see the fourth design issue, that is implementation of connection oriented. What is the basic difference between connection-less service and connection-oriented service? In a connection-oriented service, we will have first an establishment of connection. And once your connection establishment is established, then we have your data transfer. And after your completion of data transfer, your connection is terminated. It is as good as your telephone line conversation. As when I dial a number to my friend, okay, after dialing the number, I'll not immediately go on speaking. Once I'll dial the number, I'll wait for my friend to leave the call. And once my friend has left the call, then the connection between my mobile and my friend's mobile is established. This is called as connection establishment. And then after establishing the connection, I'm going to start speaking. So whatever matter I'm speaking, whatever information I'm speaking to phone is being transferred through my mobile to my friend mobile. This is called as your data transfer phase. And once your data is completely transmitted, once your conversation is completed, then you are going to click on end call. That is your connection termination. These three things are being done in your connection oriented service. This is how your connection oriented is implemented. And for the implementation of connection oriented, we have your TCP protocol called as transmission control protocol. And TCP is reliable protocol. Remember, your connection oriented service is a reliable service, whereas connection less service is an unreliable service. So how exactly this connection oriented service is established? So when you are calling to your friend's mobile, that time a connection is established between your mobile to your friend's mobile with the help of your service providers. And this connection is called as a virtual circuit. Why? Because it is not always established. Only when you give a call to your friend's mobile, then only you will be having a connection establishment done. A circuit is established. Just visualize, just illustrate that if you have dedicated links from your mobile to your friend's mobiles, then how all the wires will be just slandering here and there with an abrupt situation. So it's just a imaginary circuit that is established between your mobile and your friend's mobile. That's the reason we call it as a virtual circuit. And for this virtual circuit, a number is given that is called as VCN, virtual circuit identifier. And whatever conversation is being transmitted from you to your friend's mobile, that is being done through this virtual circuit number only. So here your connection oriented service subnet will be in this manner. Where this is how your connection oriented subnet will be resembling. Here you are having two hosts H1 and H3 at one end with a process P1 and P3 with it, and a process P2 at the other end connected to the local area network F. And the process P2 is present in the host H2. And these are the routing tables. Now each routing table will be having a in routing table and an out routing table. If you observe very carefully, for A, the incoming links are H1 and H3. So H1 and H3. And for C, the outgoing links are, so for A, the outgoing link is C. So the outgoing link is C. What is this 1 and 2? We'll just see in a moment. This is how your connection oriented service subnet will be implemented. And here in your connection oriented service, just now I told you a path between source router or a path between your source and destination is established, like a path between your mobile and your friend mobile is established, and the entire data is passed to that channel only. So here we have a path from source router to the destination router, and all the packets should and follow the same route. And this connection is called as a virtual circuit. This is as good as a physical telephone system, and this is called as virtual circuit subnet. When a connection is established, a route from the source machine to the destination machine is chosen as a part of the connection setup and stored in the tables inside the router. You will see how the connection is stored in the tables. And that route is used for all the traffic flowing over the connection exactly the same way how a telephone system is going to work. And when the connection is released, the virtual service is also terminated. With connection-oriented service, each packet carries an identifier telling which virtual circuit it belongs to. So here in the packets, we are not going to write the source name or destination name, but instead we are going to just specify the virtual circuit number which it should follow. Say for example, from Nirmal Nagar bus stop to ECL Crossroads. Okay, you have the bus facility and the buses are either 37 or 24E. Suppose here, if I want to tell a student that you are supposed to go to ECL Crossroads from Nirmal Nagar, then I will not tell the path when he is going through bus. I'll just specify the bus number. In the same way here also, I'll just specify the virtual circuit number. And this is how your virtual circuit is implemented. Here, your H1, so here is virtual circuit is established between the process P1 of H1 with the process P2 of H2. And this virtual circuit is resembled by a red color line. So here the data will move from process P1 of H1 to A, from A to C, from C to E, from E to F, and from F to the process P2 of H2. And all the packets should and must follow the same route. And if you observe very carefully, this is the first connection from H1 to A, or A is having a first connection from host H1 to A. So that's why in the table, A's table from incoming, we have H1 and connection identifier as 1. And from A to C, that means the outgoing channel is C, and for C, this is the first connection from A to C. That's why C also is having the connection identifier as 1 itself. In the same way for C also, where C is receiving data from A through connection 1, that is here red color line. And here the connection 1 is identified using a red color line. So this is how all three routing tables A, C, and E are being formulated. And if you observe E, for E also C data from H1 is coming through channel 1, subspace 1, and E should transfer to host H2 through F. That's why it's also through 1 only, because the data is from the host H1. So as an example, consider the situation in the figure. Here host of H1 has established connection 1 with host H2. It is remembered as the first entry in each of the routing tables. Connection 1 is identified with red color solid line. The first line of A's table says that if a packet bearing connection identifier 1 comes in from H1, it is to be sent to router C and given connection identifier as what? 1, because the data is being sent through 1. This is how data from process P1 of H1 is sent to process of P2 of H2. First, establish the connection, then transfer the data, and then release the connection. So, suppose if H3 also want to establish connection, then how H3 can establish the connection? Observe very carefully, for H3 it is the first connection, whereas for A it is not the first connection. Just make a clear point here. For A, the connection is second connection, but for H3 the connection is first connection. So if you observe very carefully, the implementation of the route from H3 to H2, this is how it is implemented. Where here from H3 to A, it is connection 1. So from H3 to A, it is connection 1 because H3's first connection is this. Whereas from A to C is not first connection because already connection 1 from A to C is nothing but the path from H1 to H2. So here the A will modify the connection identifier that is present or that is specified by the host H3 as 1 from 1 to 2. That's the reason we give the routers to modify the connection identifiers. And this is called as label switching, where the routers are given permissions or privileges to just modify the connection identifiers data, not the entire data present in the data packet. Just the label of the data is being modified. And here see, now there was only one single row for each table. But once your second connection is established, here we are having 2 rows for each table, where A routing table is in this manner. It specifies that data from H1 is going to come from connection from H1 to A through connection 1. And data from H3 also is from connection 1 only, because for H3 it is first connection. Whereas if you check your outgoing table of A, the data from connection 1 is passed through C through connection 1 only, but data from H3 is passed to C not to connection 1 but to connection 2, because now A will establish a second connection from A to C, because first connection from A to E is of H1 to H2. So it will establish a second connection which is modified by router A. In the same manner, C and E are also going to modify the routing tables by updating its second row. And they will specify the connection identifier as 2, but not as 1, because 1 is from H1 to H2 and 2 is from H3 to H2. This is how your connection oriented service is being implemented.